Hollywood, California, the entertainment capital of the world. What happens to someone who becomes part of show business by accident and loves it? Actress and writer Hope Lee shares her story, which began at Dreamworks Studio working with above-the-line executives. Plus, talent agent Marc Soper explains the details of running a busy office. It's all coming up next on Below the Line.
It's Below the Line with George Peroulas. Tonight's guests are
From SC to USC, my first guest has seen a lot. She studied political science at the University of Southern California, and naturally that leads to working in the entertainment industry, right? Please welcome Hope Lee. Hope, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
I'm so glad that you're here because it's very hard to find someone who's actually worked in the studio system with executives in LA, and we're glad you're here.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, great. Now let's begin at the beginning. How did you end up in Los Angeles? You know, USC is in Southern California, as well as Columbia, South Carolina. How did you end up out there?
Well, it's funny, I actually applied to both for college, but then started getting all this mail from the University of Southern California, even videos, and just, you know, it just looked fantastic, all the glamorous stuff. And as a kid, I was always watching movies, watching TV. My grandparents were big fans of the golden age of movies, and just always been a huge fan of entertainment. And so I just couldn't help myself. I had to go to Los Angeles.
And how long were you there?
10 years.
So you studied political science.
Yes.
And then you ended up working in the entertainment industry at Dreamworks. How did that happen?
Actually, with luck, with meeting a next door neighbor. Right after college graduation, I just moved into an apartment, didn't have a job lined up, just started temping for just to pay the bills, and then went to just went to a party next door and met a neighbor, and he just happened to have a friend who was leaving the company to go direct, and just started at the bottom as a office assistant.
So in the beginning, you were working with the finance department. Now, what do they deal with? Big Hollywood contracts and budgets?
Just everything to do, I mean, basically money, and especially because that was the beginning of the company. I started in 1995 when the company first became in existence, and they had all these different banks, investors, and so to start with, they were definitely dealing with getting the investors and getting the money, and then obviously the proper distribution of that. So as far as the contracts, as far as talent contracts, but then also just as far as just running a business like any other business.
Now, one of the things that you also did is you worked in television development.
Yes.
Why did you like that department?
That was actually my favorite because I just basically, typical kid in the 80s, cable came into existence, and I watched way too much TV. I still do.
I love TV too.
Yeah. So that was just really fun for me because that was just something very surreal, because television for everybody is very abstract. You never get to actually go and see the actors and the people that create those TV shows that you see every day running 90 million hours on TV.
Now, you also had other friends living in LA who were also working in the business, and you heard some stories of what they were doing and crazy things happening in their offices and just the general business around town. What are some of those stories?
The entertainment industry, in a way, still operates like a small town. I mean, people are very into the networking. It's like any business. It's all about who you know. And especially since television was something I was most interested in and wanted to follow a career in, I ended up just meeting a lot of people through that field. And also was very fortunate to have a roommate who started as an intern for Warner Brothers Television, ended up becoming an assistant to a senior VP, became a manager of drama development, and went on and on, and now he is an executive producer for various reality TV shows.
But in the beginning, you were comparing notes on how the day was in the office.
Yeah.
What were some of the meetings they were dealing with?
One of his stories, it's just you realize how much attention to detail you have to pay attention to. And one, for example, was a TV show on USA Network called La Femme Nikita. And the lead actor on that show, Don Lupuy, he actually had long hair when the show started. And about 8 episodes into the first season, he was pretty well known for those nice locks of hair. Well, then he wanted to cut it. And of course, that inspired a 45-minute phone call that my roommate became a part of. And he just came home one day, he's like, "You're not going to believe what I did today." I had to talk about somebody's haircut for 45 minutes.
So what do you tell someone who wants to go out there and try to work their way up into the studio system? What advice do you tell someone when they get out there?
It's not rocket science. It's not difficult. I mean, it's just basically an industry of people networking, and it's like any other industry. I mean, if you want to go into banking or marketing, it's just trying to people today finding a job anywhere. It's just get out there, network, and meet people. And one advantage of being in Los Angeles, you're bound to run into people working in the industry. And so, first step is actually having the courage to move out there. It is an expensive city, but it's definitely doable. Just get yourself in the door starting at the bottom. Be a PA, work in someone's mailroom, temp at an agency that leases you out to other production companies or studios. It's very doable. And I think a lot of people get into their heads that Los Angeles is just this surreal place, and it's a city like any other place.
And how quickly can somebody move up?
It depends. I mean, some people, you hear stories of executives, whenever they work for top executives, well, those people have a lot of authority, and they can, again, it's all about who you know. So if you work for somebody that's the head CEO or chairman of the board or something, you can excel within a year. You can become an executive yourself from an assistant. Other times, especially if you don't have a really clear concept of what you want to do, then you may end up bouncing around a little bit, because that's actually what happened to me. I wasn't really quite sure, because I ended up in finance, business affairs, legal affairs, the IT department, television. So just kind of, if you focus on where you want to be. And also, I actually left when the economy started taking its toll, and it became very tough. And I have had some friends that have always worked on various productions, and so with productions, they move from project to project, and some of them have been out of work for a year or two. So, I mean, right now it is difficult.
Very good. Coming up next, find out the reality of living in Los Angeles. Traffic, sky-high rent, earthquakes, and celebrity sightings. Stay with us.
This can't be happening. This can't be happening.
Of course it's not happening. Armored car. Listen, having money isn't about luck. Make your own coffee, save $1,000 a year. Feed me.
Feed the pig.
Sounds like you could use some Van Gogurt. It's fortified with arts-rich nutrients to improve your math and reading skills. Catch!
Van Gogurt, thanks. So what's the deal with your ear?
Always with the ear, huh?
Feed your kids the arts. For 10 simple ways to learn how, visit AmericansForTheArts.org.
You're watching Below the Line. With us is Hope Lee, who has worked at Dreamworks Studio in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. Talk about the traffic and getting around town. They're infamous for all the delays, but you can get around town.
It is. I mean, there's a lot of people, there's a trade-off for where they want to be, because Southern California, like they say, sunny Southern California, a lot of people want to live near the beach, and so they work in downtown, but they want to live at the beach, and so since everybody wants to do that, everybody's driving the same direction to work every morning. And you got to allow the time, depending on how much time you want to spend in your car. Like for me, I actually lived in Hollywood, I call it the Hollywood foothills. It was just off of Hollywood Boulevard in La Brea, and I shared an apartment with a roommate. So by doing that, being single in my 20s, an expensive apartment, but it was clean, great location, and we were just over the hill from Universal Studios, which is where I worked, and then he worked at Warner Brothers.
And talk about everyday things like grocery store, going to a movie, dry cleaning, eating in a fast food restaurant or somewhere more expensive. Is everything that expensive or no?
I don't think, it's a little more than the Carolinas, yes, but it's not that bad. You're just not going to go completely broke if you're smart. If you're going out to dinner all the time to Lingerie where it's $500 a person, then you might need to look at your finances. Or if you can afford that, then hey, who are you? I want to be your friend. Please take me out because I never got to go there. But and at the same time, it's a very health conscious city, and so you can even find very healthy alternatives for they're almost like that are not fast food quality, but as far as fast food prices, maybe just a little bit more than a McDonald's or Wendy's or something like that. Inordinately long lines. If you go to a grocery store, almost at any time, even at 2 o'clock in the morning at a 24-hour Ralph's, there's still a line. So it can that's the thing. It's like you don't mind a lot of people, and just if you can find your patients, then it's not that bad, but it's not like here. It's a lot more congested.
And what about bumping into celebrities? Is that a common thing, or is it just...
It is. I think so. I did. But the thing is, though, especially for when you work in the entertainment industry, at the same time, it is fun and you love your job and you love where you are, and it is surreal at times, but it's still a job. And so it's just work, and so it kind of takes a little bit of the glamour out of it. So when you see someone, you don't want to go, oh my God, George Clooney, and assault them or ask for their autograph. If anything, you kind of take the double take, because you see him out of the corner of your eye, because you think for a second, that guy looks like George Clooney. You're like, oh, that was George Clooney. Okay, and you move on.
You have done below the line work, and of course you are a writer and an actress. You're in LA doing that, and now you're going to another LA. You're moving to Louisiana.
Yes.
What's going on down there?
Well, New Orleans is quite the hot spot in the Southeast. I have friends that I knew from Los Angeles that are down there working. They're thriving. They're doing really well down there. They're very well connected. And again, like I said, networking is all who you know. So I just want to take advantage of that, and just now's the time.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
And keep us posted on what's going on with you in Louisiana.
Oh, I will. Thank you, George.
All right, thanks for coming.
Okay.
Coming up next, we'll talk with talent agent Marc Soper. We're back in a moment.
Thanks. You believe this guy?
Are you trying to start a wildfire?
Sorry. Pass the honey?
9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Once they've outgrown their toddler seat, they're still not ready for adult safety belts alone. 4'9" is the magic number. Until then, kids need a booster seat. Make sure your little pumpkin gets there safely. Visit boosterseat.gov.
My next guest is the head of the TV and film division at Carolina Talent Agency and is here to discuss what being an agent is all about. Please welcome Agency Director Marc Soper. Welcome, Marc. How are you?
Good, George. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. Now, after a 20-plus year career in the Army, you got back into the real world, very successful in sales, and then you transitioned to working as a talent agent. What's that been like?
It's been good. It's been real good. It's something that I really, really enjoy. Initially, I was an actor. That's what I wanted to do, and things didn't work out as a kid. Went on to college, then went in the military, and when I got back out of the military, when I was transitioning out, I was doing the reserves, and my son is the one who actually kind of got back into the industry and made me get into the industry. And I found I had a very a good liking to being an agent for Carolina Talent.
And basically, what does a talent agent do?
What doesn't a talent agent do, George? That's the question. You know, it's everything. It's marketing the talent, making sure they have the right material, making sure they're updated. It's almost like a babysitting job, but a good one, because you really develop a relationship with the talent. It's almost like an extended family. I can't tell you how many times I'd get a phone call that somebody got booked on a job or somebody just got this part, and sometimes I think I'm more happy telling them than they are, you know, hearing the news. And my wife's always like, "Oh my gosh, you know, you're more excited than the talent is," and I'm like, "Well, I have a passion for it. I really have a desire to help the people, you know, in this industry."
So walk me through a typical day of what happens Monday morning. The phone rings. What's a typical day, a typical week as an agent?
Typical day really starts with the phone ringing, or texting, or me checking an email. The first thing I do in the morning, and just a typical day, 6 o'clock in the morning, first thing, I get up and I go down and I check my emails. I'm not getting up to start work, but I'm going down to check emails, see if anything's come in, you know, overnight, if something that we've got going on that day, if the talent maybe says, "Oh, you know, I lost the address," or "I lost my sides," or, you know, I don't have the black pants that you told me to bring. What do I need to do? So first thing in the morning, I check to make sure everything's on track for that day. Then I go about my business of getting ready, you know, working out, that kind of stuff. And then I get in the office anywhere between 9 and 10 a.m. But all during that time, I'm checking emails, doing phones, that kind of stuff. As soon as I get into the office, the first thing I start doing is I check all the websites. I go through all the things that we use to market our talent, whether it's a model, whether it's a promotional model, whether it's a singer, a dancer, or an actor or actress. So I start going through that process there. Make sure that everything that's in any of those websites, I go ahead and I feed that into our database to find the people that meet the basic criteria. Basic criteria may be ethnicity, male, female, and their age. So then we pull all those people up, and then we start going through and, you know, weeding out who maybe is not available or is too far out of the state, you know, to come in for a $150 job. Somebody from New York is not going to come in for $150. So we go through that whole process and send out the emails. Then we start fielding the phone calls, fielding the emails. I want to be submitted. You know, what do I need? You know, so we start going through that, and that's the whole day. Then anybody who calls in that day, whether it's a director, a producer, an ad agency, saying I need models, I need actors, you know, this is the thing that we need, we start building those projects. And we go through that whole process. So that's a typical day. And like I said, it doesn't, as you know, I'm normally in the office till about 8 o'clock at night. So, and then I go home and continue to work till about 10 or 12.
The casting director contacts you and they're looking for actors. They send you a character breakdown.
Yes, sir.
What is a character breakdown, and what do you do with it once they need people?
Okay. Character breakdown comes in and says this is the project, whether it's commercial, TV, film, whatever. They start there. Then they say whether it's a SAG union or AFTRA or non-union. Then they give you the pay scale, and I'll just use a typical pay scale for an extra, 150 plus 20%. That 20% is the agency fee. So then they'll say we're looking for male, Caucasians, 15 to 20. We're looking for female, you know, African American, 30 to 35. We're looking for kids, any ethnicity, ages 10 to 15. So then what we do is we take that, we look at the description of what that character's got to do. But we first go into the system and we pull down the database for those 3 types of jobs. So we pull down the male Caucasian, the female African American, and then the children. And we go through and we look and we make sure that if there's any specific notes in the breakdown, like character must be able to play the piano, we'll put that into our system to see who of the children play the piano. Once we do that, then we basically send out an email to all the people that fit that criteria, saying this is the project, this is the pay, this is what the take-home is, these are the audition dates, these are the callback dates, and these are the shoot dates. If you are interested in this project and you can meet all this criteria, you let us know and we get you submitted. So that's normally how it works. Now, if it's a situation where we only have like an hour or two and the actual audition's tomorrow, we start calling people and we make sure they have a phone call and we talk to them about it on the phone. Hey, this is the job, go through the whole thing, get their commitment, and then also get them submitted.
Now, when the actor does get hired, they will call you and the offer is made from casting.
Correct.
What happens next? You know, how does the negotiating work, or does it depend on each project?
Well, it really depends on each project, because when you say negotiating, a lot of times when we first send the project out, pretty much all the negotiating's been done. So anything dealing with TV commercials, film, and all that, when the project is sent out asking if you want to be submitted, everything's pretty much been negotiated right then and there. So you have the final numbers.
And what do you look for in signing a new actor?
Talent, the ability to want to do it, their availability. If somebody wanted to be an actor and say they're also a lawyer that, you know, has a huge schedule and they're never going to be available, that's going to be a discredit to us and them. So you have to have some availability. And then, like I say, you have to have talent. And you have to have the willingness to go out and get more experience. You have to be willing to maybe do some things for free, you know, when you're first starting out. So the ability to work in the industry, the ability to commit to the industry, and the ability to, you know, give us some of that time.
And what do agents expect from their actors?
We expect you to trust us. And what I mean by that is we're there to work for you. I like to say that a talent agent and a talent, it's a partnership. You don't work for me, I don't work for you. And when I say that, you've got to trust that every day I'm doing everything I can to promote you, market you, get you that job. And you've got to trust in in me doing that. And you've got to understand that I have your best interest out there for you. And the reason I say that is because my money's based off your money. So I'm not going to sell you for $150 when I can sell you for $500. And I don't mean that in that way, sell you, but you have to understand I'm out there trying to get the most money for you without losing the job for you either. So I want to make sure you get your due and we get our due.
Very good. Coming up next, learn how the instant connection of social media is changing the way producers protect their product. What does that mean? And are actors to blame? Find out next.
So, do you have any questions?
What is your soup of the day? Oh, how's that cooked? Is it grilled? Can I have it steamed? So, what do you recommend?
Any questions?
For the 10 questions everyone should know, go to ahrq.gov.
You're watching Below the Line with us is talent agent Marc Soper. As communication gets more sophisticated every year, computers, smartphones, everybody's on the go with instant everything. Do you see the instant communication being a good thing, a bad thing, or both?
Both. And let me explain that. It's great because I can email my talent, I can email a client, they can get in touch with me no matter where I'm at. You have a smartphone, you have instant access. Facebook, Twitter, the whole 9 yards. It's great to communicate. The problem is, as we all know, some people go overboard. And what I mean by that, we do have things that we like to share. And as you know, in the social media market, people sometimes share too much. If you take a commercial that I'm shooting today, that's kind of, we want a big pop when that commercial comes out. We have a celebrity who's going to do a spot for Verizon, but it's a secret. And we're out there doing that commercial, and somebody on set all of a sudden says, hey, I saw the celebrity, they're doing something for Verizon now. All of a sudden the pop's gone. That commercial has lost its appeal. And that is really changing the way producers and directors are doing stuff these days.
I recently learned of a project having stipulations that an actor must sign a confidential agreement, non-disclosure agreement, before they're even brought into the audition. Do you see this trend continuing?
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, I think I know the actor you were talking about, and it is a blurb that is being put on the bottom of these contracts that basically says you cannot share this on Twitter, Facebook, any social media network. You have to keep this private, and this is considered a confidentiality agreement. And there's also a little blurb in there where they say if they find that you've breached this contract, they can withhold your pay.
And what type of person does it take to work in an agency besides having the phone ring all day and answering it?
Yeah, so it takes somebody with thick skin. It takes somebody with the ability to be politically correct. And what I mean by that is sometimes, unfortunately, in our business, we have to tell people they didn't get the job. And they have to be told why they didn't get the job. And you know, you really can't, you don't want to be mean to people. And that's not our intention at all. We don't want to be mean. What we want to be is we want to be honest, and we want to make sure you understand why you didn't book this job. And if it's something to the nature of you showed up, you know, for the audition and you had sunburn last week and you're peeling, you know, that is something where you want to make sure you tell people, you know, you've got to look your best when you go to an audition. And if for some reason, if maybe you've got a blemish, if you stayed out in the sun too long and you are peeling, let your agent know, and let's not send you on that audition, because all you're doing is you're making yourself look bad and you're making the agent look bad for sending you in that condition. It's the same thing with children. Children lose teeth. You know, if you don't tell us, hey, my child's lost his front tooth, and we send you to a company that is doing, you know, dental work, guess what? They're not going to pick him.
For those organized deal makers out there, what do you tell them about getting into this as a career?
Wow. Have patience. Have patience. Trust your yourself. Trust your intuition, and most of all, be personable to your talent. They're people. I mean, you can say they're a commodity, but they are people. And if you're honest and genuine and true to the people you represent, they're going to be honest, true, and, you know, back to you. And it's going to be a twofold win. So I just be honest, be ready to work a lot of hours, and, you know, don't do anything underhanded.
Well, thank you for coming, Mark, and thank you for serving our country.
Thank you, George.
All right.
Thank
Have a great day.
All righty.
Below the Line continues right after this.
So, April,
Yeah?
your charger's still using energy.
That's not my charger. I don't even have a cell phone.
Millions of kids are using their energy wisely. What's your excuse?
Thank you to Hope Lee for sharing her Hollywood experience with us, and to Marc Soper for his insight as a talent agent, and of course, thank you for watching. Feel free to write us with your questions, comments, and show ideas. The email address is belowtheline21@gmail.com, and join our fan page on Facebook. We'll see you next time.
For more information, comments, or questions about the show, email us at belowtheline21@gmail.com.